Hey everyone, this is Trip to Mean Astrology. We are about to get hit full on with Saturn square Neptune. So I find it difficult to kind of describe how I think this is gonna be. So I think that one of the best things that we can do to understand how this is gonna be and prepare for it is to look at the past instances of this happening. The most similar aspect to Saturn square Neptune is Saturn opposition Neptune, and that occurred in 2007. This is the chart for November 7th, 2015. So, let's see. We got the Sun and Mercury in watery Scorpio. We have Chiron at 17 degrees Pisces, the water sign. Neptune in its own sign of Pisces, of course. You've got to understand this. There's no more intense Neptune than Neptune in Pisces. There's no more intense Neptune than Neptune in Pisces. Floods are said to happen during these Neptune aspects. Floods are said to happen, and at first I thought, maybe that's a leap of logic. I don't see how this could actually physically cause a flood, but then I found out that Texas is apparently flooding right now. Someone told me, I haven't verified this yet, but someone told me that two major bouts of flood occurred in Texas recently. And if that's correct, then that would mean that the first bout of flood probably started in September when Jupiter opposition Neptune happened. And the second one will probably intensify now that Saturn is squaring Neptune. I think this is actually likely. I also, this is weird. I found out that in 2007, when Saturn was at 20 degrees Leo, opposite Neptune, 20 degrees Aquarius, I had a situation where I moved to Houston from another place in Texas, and it was a really terrible year for me. I was really depressed, and I didn't really know anybody where I moved to in Houston, and it was just a bad time. And so we moved back to another place in Texas, me and my family. I was 11 years old, and a flood happened. A flood happened that destroyed our house in Texas. It wasn't like a weather flood. It was actually just like the pipes in our house leaking for a straight year without us knowing, and then it destroyed the house. It flooded the whole house, so we had to leave. Anyway, so I'm gonna take a look at the Saturn square Neptune of 1998. That's the last time this happened. So we have October 16th, 1998. Let's see. Interesting. We've got Jupiter exactly in Pisces, where Chiron currently is in Pisces. See? 2 degrees away. Jupiter in Pisces is a very dominant Pisces force, very similar to Neptune in Pisces, what we have right now. So, in 1998, we also had Mercury in the water sign of Scorpio, at the same time of the peak of this, like we do now. These synchronicities are very interesting. You see, I think there's a veil of probability, a realm of probability and improbability when it comes to synchronicity. There's definitely a possibility of looking too deep into something, like a number synchronicity or this phenomena where the same aspects are occurring in a past peak of another aspect. These synchronicities, there's a certain point where it becomes too much synchronicity for it to be a coincidence. There's a realm of plausibility in synchronicity that is quite undefinable. There's pretty much no, you get what I'm saying. Okay, so interesting. In 1998, Saturn square Neptune, we also had Quasar, Pluto, and Ixion exactly in Sagittarius, where Saturn currently is to square Neptune. Interesting. So 4 degrees Sagittarius, 4 degrees Sagittarius. Then we've got 19 degrees Pisces, 7 and 17 degrees Pisces. We've got, oh yeah, that's weird as hell too. Chiron was at its most similar point to the point that it's in now then. It was at 19 degrees Scorpio, trining Jupiter in Pisces. Now that is a watery aspect. That's a really watery aspect to add to the Saturn square Neptune of 1998. Saturn square Neptune basically pours Neptunian energy into the dead opposite energy of Saturn. Saturn is no doubt the dead opposite of Neptune. So Saturn is solidness, it's structures and people. Saturn rules governments, organizations, bodies of people, disciplined work, your career. It's all of those serious things. It's like the structure that holds your life together. It's like a business, you know. It's discipline, it's work, it's your career. So when Saturn, all of those solid things, your career, your work, your discipline, when Saturn makes a harsh aspect to Neptune, Neptune is the planet that dissolves things. It's the planet of the final sign, Pisces. It dissolves everything that is solid. It undoes solidness and structure. It's the exact opposite of structure. It's the realms of imagination and speculation and illusion, delusion, deep spirituality on the positive side. Neptune is, it's kind of difficult for me to describe. It's more of a feeling. Once you feel it, you know what Neptune is. Think about how Pisces is. Neptune in its own sign of Pisces here in 2015, a once every 160 year occurrence, is just incredibly powerful. See, in the 90s, imagination was not in a very confusing place. In the 90s, imagination was in a very grounded and solid place in Saturn's sign of Capricorn. Neptune in Capricorn of the 90s was a very grounded time for imagination. There wasn't much confusion back in the 90s. People had very solid conviction. But here in 2015, there's a whole other type of confusion going on. I'm telling you. Neptune in Pisces by itself is one of the most confusing aspects in astrology, in all of astrology. So, when you have Saturn squaring dominant Neptune in Pisces, you have the total dissolving of everything. The greatest, the most powerful dissolver, undoer, confuser, illusion inducer, the most powerful illusion inducer in astrology, doing the illusions to the planet of solidness. You really have a situation where everything that is solid in life is dissolved to a point that just doesn't happen ever. Neptune is at its strongest point. So I can barely feel it kicking in right now. Here, I'm going to show you something. Strangely enough, It might be sunny right now, but here in Sacramento, California, we've been in a drought for a long time. It's now foggy outside here. It's been raining. You see? It's a rainy day. It hasn't rained in a long, long time. Let me tell you. In fact, it hasn't rained since around this exact time last year. So, just for the hell of it, let's look at last year. What was happening last year? Because I find it interesting too, because, yeah, we've been stuck in a drought. It hasn't rained in Sacramento in a long time. Since about the end of December 2014. So, let's take a look at that. December 27th, 2014. I remember how hard it rained then. That was the only time it's rained like that since now. We've been in a solid drought. Okay, so what was happening then? Exactly. Oh my god. Oh. Well, I kind of knew this, but yeah, so the last time it rained here, really, the Saturn square Neptune just barely started. See? So, that was like the initiation of this. This started a year ago, but now it's just going to really kick in. Wow. Yeah, so Saturn was at 0 degrees Sagittarius. Neptune was at 5 degrees Pisces. That was the last time it majorly rained here. That's not the best proof, but anyway, let me continue here. So let's go further ahead, because I don't know if I don't know how close they got to squaring before it stopped last year. So let's go to February 15th, 2015. I don't know how close to an orbit got earlier this year. I wonder if it got to a really close orbit. Alright. Oh man, it did! Wow. You see, I didn't even know that. Saturn was exactly where it was. The end of February 2015. It does feel similar to that. Think about the end of February 2015. Interesting. Wow. So it actually did kick in a little bit once. I didn't even know that. Well, I guess that concludes the first Saturn square Neptune video. I know it was kind of disorganized. Sorry about that. Just woke up and decided to do it because I was feeling some passion. So, alright, much love. Peace.